going to have 5
Okay,
minutes.
5 minutes, wonderful.
Clerk, have the 2 names for Mr. Johnson? Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, everyone. So I'm glad to hear all these varying opinions, but I'd like to first off address the fact that there's a failure to address homeless individuals and instead address homelessness as this grand concept, because the grand concept is very convenient and comfortable to address. Let's solve homelessness. But when you look at individuals, they are people. They are individuals who deserve dignity, respect. They have senses of integrity. They have rights. We've heard reference to the lineage, the genealogy of these ordinances. Yeah, it's modern day racist oppression, just broadened so that it's classist oppression. Because you see, a place to live, a shelter, is a staple for survival, like food or water, correct? I think we all agree. Imagine if your safety, if your financial security was threatened because your stomach growled or because you felt thirsty. That's the equivalent of being at risk of citation for not having a place to live when we already know we don't have enough places with which to house them. So if there aren't enough beds for them to occupy, how can we cite them for not occupying the beds that don't exist? I mean, I'm a software developer. I was a software developer before I got in this world because I'm with Grassroots Leadership and Texas Advocates for Justice, so I know math pretty well, and that doesn't add up. But see, it's inconvenient. It's an inconvenient truth, but the only thing, well, not the only, but the thing most inconvenient after facing an inconvenient truth, or the failure to face an inconvenient truth, rather, is dealing with the aftermath of it. And see, Austin created this problem. Austin created this problem by failing to protect the interests of, provide for, and plan with the individuals who are most in need, while we were enjoying this wonderfully boundless expansion and growth and financial development period in which we are so proud. See, we weren't thinking as a city of those who need, we were thinking of those with greed. But understand that those who do not have equal rights to humanity as, and actually deserve more the service from the council in front of me than those who can contribute to your campaigns. Because I'll have to call it out, because I'm not here on my behalf. I do not suffer under the burden of homelessness. But I am here on behalf of those who may not feel comfortable coming in here, who may be too concerned about whether or not their belongings are going to be taken, who are wondering what happens to me if I get too close to them. So you're going to hear from, or you've already heard from, I'm sure, organizations like Dana and DAA, where they say, before we move too fast, let's make sure we have resources. See, I like to dissect bigot speak. So let's dissect it. Because when slavery was abolished, they didn't say, oh, wait a minute, before we abolish slavery, let's find out what we're going to do with these uneducated Negroes that are unprepared to live amongst white folks. They said, let's abolish it. But then we just celebrated a holiday in Texas, unfortunately, that acknowledges how Texas handles that. Yeah. Dig into Juneteenth. So here we are again saying, before we do what's right, before we respect the humanity and the human dignity of those most in need, one of our most vulnerable sectors of the community, let's figure out where we're going to put them. We want to congratulate individuals for deciding, hey, in my district, let's put a storehouse. But we don't want to acknowledge that we wronged them to begin with by putting these oppressive policies in place. You'll hear from Safe Horns that says, we're focused on the safety of our community. When in fact, if they were truly focused on the safety of their community, they'd be focused on reckless use of e-scooters and alcohol use on campus, because that has resulted in far more violent deaths and far more sexual assaults than can ever be attributed to the homelessness on UT campus. But again, that's fear-mongering. UT police chief wrote the letter, I saw it, and said, hey, we're really concerned about all these violent crimes. Really? If you were really concerned, then the entire campus, the entire student body would have rallied around the cause and said to UT, hey, shave a few million off the new stadium and invest in safety. Let's define safety. But safe is one of those trigger words for fear mongering. But the beauty of fear is that fear creates the opportunity for courage. There is no courage without fear. You are our leaders, our elected leaders. And one of the things about leaders is that leaders have a responsibility to lead forth where there has been no movement. So I only ask that you seize this opportunity in the face of fear to step into courage and move us forth as a city rather than step back in disgrace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hey, come on.